This is David Meltzer with Entrepreneurs, the Playbook, and I have a treat for you live from the greatest stadium in the world ever built. It's amazing what $5.5 billion will build you, including a $1 billion screen behind my friend, an amazing entrepreneur, Michael Noicos, the managing director at his own enterprise, Noicos Enterprises and CEO at Banx Management. Welcome to the Playbook.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
It does elevate your emotions as a business person to see one of the greatest entrepreneurs from dirt build something like this. When you see something that either stretches or maybe even goes beyond your imagination, does that create fear, or does it excite you that maybe you're thinking too small?
Pure excitement. I mean, I've read the book about Walmart, and I actually just recently learned about 10 minutes ago that this whole stadium was built by the person that founded Walmart. I've read that book, and it just goes to show you that things that start small, even in all of my companies, like I used to think, when I was at university, say for example, $5,000 a month, if I could earn that passively, I could live like a king, right? As I naively thought when I was, say, 18, 19 years old, because that's just the perspective that you see from that lens. But now, $5,000 a month, when you, I guess, start to see more of the world and you start to see what can happen when you're a bit more financially successful, if you want to say it that way, it's just mind-opening. And you go, you change who you're around, who you associate with, and suddenly your standards elevate higher and higher and higher as well. Yeah, it's just crazy to see.
And I want to ask about the three things that I've seen help people to advance faster, and people don't realize starting points compared to the outcomes. And so some people have great success at a young age, but they may have been an entrepreneur since they were 5.
Yeah.
So they were developing the skills, the knowledge of who and what, and the desire was consistent and persistent from 5 to 25. And so people say, oh my gosh, he's a millionaire at 25. And they think that he graduated with his engineering degree at 22, that it really was a very 3-year overnight success. But I actually know that's impossible.
It is.
And some people just start earlier and everybody's not aware. It takes a long time to be an overnight success.
It does.
For you, how did that journey go where you started to particularly develop skills, knowledge, and desire towards being an abundant entrepreneur, the successful multi-business person that you are?
Yeah, so initially when I was, say, going through high school, I just thought, I'm just going to work as an engineer. I was always really good with numbers, really good with, economics class and math class and physics class, all of that type of right brain type activity. However, I guess, and that lent me to go, I'll just get a job as a engineer. That's literally what I thought one day. I just woke up and someone said,
Doctor, lawyer, engineer,
what are you going to do?
failure?
I said, well, I'm good with math, so why don't I do engineering? Hey, they use math. And that was literally it. And I also knew, I've heard they make a little bit of money, like $100,000 a year. And at the time I was thinking, whoa, that's
a lot of money.
Wow. That was, from, as you were speaking about earlier, that perspective. So yeah, that's initially kind of what started with that. But then, long story short, I had a friend that was making a little bit of money drop shipping in my first year of college when I'd started. And he came over to my house one day. He opened up his laptop and he showed me like $100,000 on the screen. And I was like, what's that? And he said, that's my bank account. I said, hang on. What's going on here? Type thing. And then he showed me that he was doing this online stuff with drop shipping. So I started doing drop shipping, and from there had moderate success. But with a lot of I've started at least 20 online businesses before my current primary one. And with all of them, they came with roadblocks and hurdles. And unfortunately, I think just because I was new to business and entrepreneurship, being the sole person responsible for success or failure, it just really led to, you'd start up, but then you'd face a problem. And rather than going, no matter what, I've burnt the boats, I have to make this work, because I was a lot younger, I just went, it's okay, I've got something to fall back on. I give up. I made 10,000, that's pretty cool. Or I made 30,000, that's pretty cool, and I'll go back to doing that engineering thing. But eventually, when I did finally graduate from college after 7 years, I just was working for 3 months, and I thought to myself, I cannot do this for the next 60 years. So not too long after, I burnt the boats, quit, and started learning how to be a commission-only salesperson for about 2 years, and worked very closely with a bunch of CEOs of other online-based companies where they did a lot of phone sales. And I just learned how to do everything from marketing to finance to sales to operations to client satisfaction. And from there I think I've got the knowledge now finally to give it a crack for myself. And that happened a little bit after COVID, when social media, Instagram was just kicking off. So I found a gap in the market, and that was helping primarily women make money online through just advertising themselves on platforms like Instagram and YouTube, because there's just a huge demand, especially there's a huge suite of reasons why, but there is a huge demand for content, for example, on OnlyFans and Instagram, and people that demand that type of content. Because at the end of the day, say, for example, if you look at an OnlyFans model, she's just providing a product to a customer at the end of the day. Sure, some people might think it's a little bit risque or a little bit taboo, but at the end of the day, it's really just
a foot.
Yeah, it could be a foot. Okay. Yeah, could be a foot.
It's so interesting because keeping our eye on different opportunities is something that's learned. Obviously, you and I both were, as far as secularly trained and educated in law, engineering, business, math, all the different areas that don't allow us to think outside the box. Yes. But it's the applied mathematicians, it's the theoretical physicists in the world that are the greatest geniuses that have this creative or co-creative expression. Where did you make the transition in your career from being that pay per hour or pay per deal into you don't have to apologize, right? If I wish I had a percentage of every dollar made by models in the history, magazines, newspaper, clubs. It's always been a way to make money. And you have to have an open mind, an open heart, an open hand. Where did you make the transition of saying, burn the boats, I'm just going for the best opportunity and option to make money, help people, and have fun?
It was really just, I was working a lot, like as a 9-to-5 worker in my engineering career. The job that I got, it involved a lot of travel. I was waking up at 5:30 in the morning. I was finishing work to get to work. Maybe it was a 2-hour drive, unpaid, of course. And I'd drive back home. It'd be 7 p.m. I'd eat dinner. I'd just have enough time to go to the gym and just a little bit of time to just research, all right, what's the next business I can start? What's the next business? And it was truly for about 2 years, like you were talking about earlier, Dave, about there's no such thing as an overnight success. I was reading books in the 4 hours spare time I had every single day, watching YouTube, reading books, anything educational, just so I could up-level myself to understand how I could escape. Because to me, some people call it the 9-to-5 a rat race. I don't think it is cliche personally. It truly felt like that. I remember waking up every day. The first thing I'd think is, oh, not another day. Oh my God, it's only a Tuesday. And I'll just be so depressed for the rest of the day, and I don't think that's a way to live. And, say what you want. I like money, but I think it's because money equals freedom, not because it's a means to be able to brag and say, haha, I've got more money than you, I'm better than you. But it's just money gives you access to other people's time, which allows for freedom, right?
Yeah, I love money because it doesn't buy happiness or love or success or respect, but it allows you to shop. And if you shop for the right things, for the right reasons, you'll be super happy.
Yeah.
And it's important. Now, one of the other lessons I've learned by studying you and your career is I coach a lot of some of the biggest entrepreneurs and executives in the world, down to, I have over 100,000 people that register for my free Friday training. So I don't know how young they are, but there is one issue that I think you're an expert at, and it's transitioning from, working in the business to working on the business. For you, how would you help a young entrepreneur that is seeing some success, but holding on to everything himself and too afraid to work on the business, so they remain limited because they work in the business?
Yeah, that was a huge shift for us. So in my current company, my primary one, Banx Management,
Which is
BANX, yes.
Yeah.
So the real shift came once I actually stepped out from the day-to-day in the business, say, interacting with all of our models every single day. It was me and my business partner primarily. We got capped at about 30,000 a month. Some might go, wow, I'd work 8 hours for, but we just had, we thought, hang on. We just need to have some trust in people here. We need to start delegating duties to different people. We need to start building a hierarchy system rather than just me and my business partner doing every little job that has to be done, maybe a couple virtual assistants here and there. We thought, okay, no, we need to really actually start to think of this as a true corporation, not just some fun little thing we're doing that's also making a nice amount of money. So, yeah, then we went to, okay, we need to start looking for a head of finance, a head of marketing, a head of sales, a head of operations, a head of client success or model success, if you want to call it that.
Yep.
And so then it's just about finding good people and explaining to them the vision of the company and then, moving forward. But I do think when you're starting out, especially if you're limited by capital, it's honestly harder to get your first 10,000 than your first 100,000.
Oh, yeah.
And I've found that with every online business I've run. A few of them have hit 6 figures. 2 of them have pushed past 7 figures. And Banx multi 7 figures. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I found it harder to get from 0 to 1 million than 1 million to 10 million.
Yeah.
10 million to 30 is easier. 30 to 100 was easier. And then the next one goes 100 to 300.
Yeah.
Now, I've never gone over 300 to a billion, but I heard 300 to a billion is easier than 0 to 1 million.
Wow. That's
because
crazy.
By then you have so many experts that it's not.
Yeah.
When you go 0 to 1, it's all you.
It is.
And you're paying the dummy tax, and there's not as much wealth in the well to allow for, as we study these different people like Elon Musk, when you have that much wealth in the well, you can take bigger chances. But if you're willing to go all the way like he did, to change the world, there's not one person that wanted to change the world that people didn't call crazy.
Yeah.
Because it's crazy to tell people you want to change the world. I want to change the world by empowering over 1 billion people to be happy. Yeah. How do you want to change the world?
I just think, honestly, my personal opinion on that is really just, I'm a strong believer in having drive and goals for happiness and fulfillment. Like, some might say, my idea of a perfect day is sitting on the beach with a cocktail and, getting a nice tan in. Like, sure, maybe that's enjoyable for me once a year. Not often, but for me, it's really just from action and moving forward to a specific goal you have every day. And it doesn't just need to be money. It can be, money, of course, it's quantitative, it's measurable, it's an easy thing to go, okay, I've moved forward this month or this week or this day or this year, whatever time segment you want to do. But it's also in, say, your physical happiness, your physical health, your spiritual happiness, your relationships. If you look at that, really, money, health, and your relationships and maybe hobbies, if all of those are good, you've got a good life. And try and convince me otherwise. I don't think you'll be able to.
I agree. There is no pursuit of happiness. Happiness is the pursuit. So I apologize, Chris Gardner, who wrote the movie with Will Smith, Pursuit of Happiness. Last question is about one of my own missions, and it's understanding behaviors.
Yeah.
I have a saying that we can't, as human beings, understand or know the outcomes today related to the behaviors today. And the only outcome of behaviors today is good behaviors create good progress.
Yes.
Bad behaviors create bad progress. Good and bad are indicative of where you're going by where you want to be. And it's limited by the meaning we give the past, the light, the love, and the lessons, the meaning of the past, and our own self-image. How have you been able to, one, stay consistent in the good behaviors, which has gotten you to great successes today, but also look for the patterns to indicate where we might be interfering with those behaviors?
Honestly, I just think it's all down to discipline. I don't think motivation, it's an interesting thing. But say, for example, the easiest thing for me is a huge change I had in my own life personally was toward when I was a lot younger, like 17, 18, 19. I was not physically fit whatsoever. I was the...
Is that a genetic, energetic? Is
Oh,
it just...
I'm not even sure what it was. It was just lifestyle, food I was eating, exercise. Could have been it could have been a range of factors.
In Europe,
Australia.
Australia. No kidding.
Yeah. But no, it could have. I'm not sure why, but yeah, it was just one thing before I really became a lot more driven on like success financially. I just said to myself, I need to make my body better before I can work on anything else. And what it was that, okay, I need to lift weights 5 times a week. That's what I was thinking. And that was, and then it didn't take long if, say, maybe I was tired and it was 11 p.m. at night and I wanted to go to bed. Oh, hang on, I had a workout today. My gym is a 7-minute drive around the corner. I don't care that I need to get up at 7 a.m. Don't be lazy, just do it, right? And it's just about doing that and, feeling, I guess, guilt, you could say, if you don't. So for me, it started off in fitness. So I became you could almost say like a positive addiction. Like I even remember a Christmas dinner and it would be, everyone would be, I've eaten too much. I'm going to go sleep and go to bed after, family and all that with Christmas. I said, no, I've got my gym clothes in the bag. I'm heading off to the gym because today's a gym day. And, no excuses. And it's just about...
That's an empty mile again.
Yeah, it's about just transitioning that mindset from, I guess, discipline into business. Because if you're disciplined, as long as you've got a blueprint to success and you actually action that proven blueprint, how can't it work? Truly.
And it has historically worked in that way, that the consistent, persistent pursuit of that potential, that discipline will get you to where you want to be or better. All the different businesses you're involved with, what do you see next? What's out there? What's going to be doing well in the future?
I definitely think AI, even in my industry, AI is taking a bit of an interesting spin now, because a lot of what we do, it's obviously with models, taking pictures. But now if you can just type in a few words into a code to generate, say, for example, a Playboy model back in 10 years ago, you'd need to set up a nice photo studio, get a nice model, nice clothing, nice background, take nice pictures, good camera. But now type into your laptop, generate me this, boom, done. So that's AI's going to change the world.
Yeah, it also will be a distinctive component of being a successful business person. I tell my own kids, you got to learn AI. You have to learn people skills, which is what you and I learned early on. And I still think it's important to read. I think if you learn personal skills, you read a lot to determine what's real and fake, and then use AI to create fake or get you from 0 to 1 instead of 1 to 100, you're going to be well off. Everyone out there, if you want to learn how to have the mindset, the heart set, the handset of success, you have to find someone who's sitting in a situation you want to be in. I will tell you, that's Michael Noicos. Thank you so much for joining me. This is David Meltzer at the greatest stadium ever built with Entrepreneurs, the Playbook.